Lately, my Etsy shop has been performing a lot slower than expected. I'm showing up each day, making products, printing, cutting, listing, putting myself out there and doing all this work. And then sometimes it feels like I'm just kind of shouting into the void. So if you too feel like you're in this quiet season, I'm here to let you know one, that you're not alone. I want to talk about the things that I'm doing during this quiet period to hopefully set myself up for success when things speed up again. I want to talk about what it actually means to be in a quiet season and to also give you some motivation to not give up during this hard period. I think one of the common misconceptions, and something that I struggle with too, is just thinking that the growth is going to be linear, right? Started in April, each month should get better and better. And that's just not the truth when it comes to having a small business. There are times that are slower than others. So I know that when I first started and when I got into holiday season, I was like, man, this is great. November, December, this is great. And everybody talked about how sales slow down in January and February. And I was like, oh, it can't be that bad. And it's been rough. It hasn't been terrible, but if this was my sole income, we would not be in a good place. So I think, first of all, realizing that you're not alone, that it's not just you experiencing this is very important, but then also understanding that this season will pass. You're not going to be in this place forever, but I know it's also disheartening when you're always showing up, you're always giving your best foot forward, you're always trying to think of these new ideas, and it feels like nothing you're doing is working. You're not alone. So I think a lot of creative businesses do have slow seasons, and it just depends on what kind of like niche or like what business you're in. So like if you have something that performed well during Christmas, a lot of people aren't looking to spend money right now. They have like resolutions and goals. So if you're not in the space to like forward their goals, I just feel like right now is a slower period than other times of the year. That also doesn't mean you can't do well, and that doesn't mean other people aren't doing well. It just means that there's less of opportunity for you to do well and less people are spending money. There's a difference between your business failing and then you using this time period as like a foundation building. So instead of looking at this as a failure, like, oh wow, I failed January and February. They have not been great months for me in business. Instead of looking at it that way, I'm using this time to, first of all, slow down a little bit because it has been a busy few months, and to build some foundation. So, what are the things in my business that I've been wanting to do that I couldn't do during that busy season when I was, shipping orders and doing all these things? What are some things that I can do to set myself up for success when it does get busier? And that's the things that I've been looking at. So, I have like my list of things that I want to accomplish. I wanted to add more annotated books to my listing this year. So my husband mentioned, like, he's like, why don't you do one a month? And I'm like, well, right now I can technically do more than that because I'm not as busy. So I worked on two over the last weekend, and then I'm hoping to finish two this weekend and have those uploaded. Working on things that I think will be beneficial later on now when I'm in the slower period. And I feel like a lot of businesses, there's different things you want to do. Maybe it's organize your files, maybe it's create a better system so when you are busier it would be more fruitful. Actually, I got an order today from TikTok Shop, after I'd already made this like video concept, but um it was for Fourth Wing, and I mentioned in my last video, if I was smart, I would go ahead and switch over to a different copy of Fourth Wing, so not my special copy. So that way the pages would line up. And had I done that, I wouldn't be having this situation again now. So just thinking of things in your business that you can do to set yourself up for success, especially while it's a little bit quieter in these times. And then also doing like a shop refresh, like check out your banner. Especially if you have Etsy, if you have Shopify. I mean, I don't know the process, but I'm sure it's pretty similar. Check your about section, check your FAQs, see if the things that you have in there still align. So those are the things that I'm kind of doing in this quiet period while it's not as busy. So as a very emotional person and as a Gemini moon, I understand like the weight that comes with feeling like your effort doesn't match your outcome. Like you're putting in all of this work and all this time and it feels like it's not fruitful. Like I have a couple of different ventures that I'm working on that I do feel this way in. Like YouTube, for instance, like I feel like I'm showing up and things, but I'm still figuring out what I want my content to be about and like who it's for. And YouTube's still figuring out the audience that is. And that's been frustrating for me because I'm like, well, I'm showing up and I'm posting and I'm waiting and I'm, trying to listen to like what the analytics are telling me. So just know that that's not like your thoughts and your feelings are very valid. There's nothing wrong with feeling that way. You can want to be successful at the time you're putting into something. However, it doesn't make you a failure if it's not converting the way that you want it to. And I mentioned this a little bit in one of my previous videos too. It's so easy to give into that temptation to compare yourself to somebody else's journey, somebody else's sales, somebody else's views, somebody else's income. Remember that you don't know where they are in their journey or what kind of help they have, what kind of support they have, the things that they've done to get to the point that they're at. All you know is what they're choosing to show you, and you're comparing that to where you are now. And that might not be fair to yourself or to them. So, even though it's hard, and I do it too, try to let that go because that is the thief of your joy is to sit there and worry about what somebody else is doing. And I know that's cliche and everybody says it, but it's not helping you get further. The only thing that you can do is compare yourself to your own self and see how you can grow and what things you can change to make yourself better. So, one really big thing that I'm doing instead of focusing on the numbers of like income and sales, I'm really focusing on measuring my consistency. So, you may know that I'm doing the 12-week year. It's actually up behind me. And each week I have goals that I'm trying to hit for my business. So, weekly newsletter, which I might be changing to bi-weekly, but that has nothing to do with this. A weekly YouTube video, my shorts on Instagram, and then trying to up that on YouTube as well, and TikTok shop. And I'm just trying to be consistent and keep showing up because if I'm not consistent and showing up, you can't be successful. Not that you can't be successful not being consistent, but the more consistent you are, the better chances you have of doing um, of being successful. So my biggest things are just working on the things that I can control. So I can control when I upload. I can control when I send my emails. I can control the marketing that I'm doing. I can control the products that I'm listing, the listings themselves. What I can't control is, people watching it. Like I can put it out there, it does not mean someone's going to watch it. I can't control if somebody's going to buy it. I can make the best product that I can possibly make. That does not mean someone's going to buy it. And I think letting go of the parts that I can't control versus what I can control has been very freeing. That doesn't mean not to listen to like what the stats are telling you, but I think it's given some grace because you can do everything right and still it not turn out the way that you want it to. So I'm just really focusing on systems and not sales at this point because I can't make them happen. But like I said, I can control the things that I have in place to be successful. So in the meantime, I've been working on some prep. I made a whole bunch of the annotation reaction stickers because that's something that takes a long time when I have to print them in the moment for an order. I prepped a bunch of those and now it makes me feel better. There are some other things that I'm going to kind of get together and some things I want to add to my shop. But that's what this period is for. So if you are feeling unmotivated, you're feeling down because of the numbers that you're seeing, you're not feeling like you're not doing a good job, you're thinking about giving up, what's the point? There is a point. And I promise you that by giving up, you're not going to get any closer to where you want to be. Only by pushing through is where you're going to find that success because it's easy to give up, right? Pushing through is the part that a lot of people don't do. And that's why not everyone can be successful. So I just want you to know that quiet seasons are not wasted seasons. During this quiet time when you're not getting that many sales, this is when clarity is built. This is where resilience comes through. This is where you see like what you're actually made of and what you do when things get hard. And I don't know about you. I don't want to build a business that only survives when there's momentum. I want to build a business that can also weather the quiet seasons. So thank you for hanging out with me, letting me be a little bit vulnerable, share that with you. And I hope that it also motivates you as much as it does me, because I have a feeling this is a video that I will have to rewatch myself sometimes just to stay motivated. I hope you're having a great day or night wherever you are. If you are interested in my business journey and what I've got going on in my small business, please like, comment, subscribe, do all the things. And I'll catch you in the next one. Bye, guys.